Remember how we approached gaming as kids? You know, the good old days where after saving up your allowance or stolen lunch money for a week, you could go out and buy an interesting looking game, only to come home and find out that it's not what you were hoping for it to be. But since you spent all that money on the damn thing, you still went ahead and plowed through it anyway. And in some cases, maybe even ended up liking a few of those crap games by the end. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I remember those days, and recently in the gaming sphere, I'm noticing that attitude is all but gone for the most part. But why? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that we just have so many options these days, and with our gaming hobby growing much more affordable, we're more likely to just stop playing a game we don't like at first than we are to plow through and maybe find the potentially juicy filling hidden beneath some initially clunky or strange design. Not every game is perfect, and even the best games have serious flaws, but we stick through the roughness to get that bit of greatness. And as much as I hate when people say, "You're playing it wrong," there may be an ounce of goodwill in there, in that some games require a different approach or line of thinking than others. Well, we're going to try to revive that childlike spirit of finding the good and the bad with this series, so buckle up and get ready to learn how to enjoy. So for those who aren't aware, Dinner Date is a very infamously hated quote-unquote non-game that released onto Steam fairly quietly in 2011. It's very much an arty game, with the player's only means of interaction being little floating button prompts that appear throughout, that when pressed, make the player do little things like tap their fingers, stretch, rub their face, look at the clock, eat bread, and drink wine. Apart from these small interactions, the game is fairly linear as it takes you through the main character's inner thoughts as he waits for his no-show date to arrive. It has since become sort of an easy target for humorous ire from the Steam community, with the top-rated reviews all being sarcastic jokes, and the rest bashing the game unironically. And while humor and irony are certainly one way to enjoy something, that's not what this show is about. Ironically enjoying something is still taking a cynical attitude for the most part, and that's not quite in the spirit of how to enjoy. So, what are the primary sins that Dinner Date commits? Well, being an arty game for starters. There's a perception in the gaming world that arty games, when taken too far, stop becoming games at all, and become more like interactive poems, whatever that means. Things like Dear Esther, Gone Home, and of course Dinner Date, all fall under this kind of non-game paradigm. Whether this is a real game or not doesn't really matter though in this case, so long as it's entertaining. Most people tend to use the not a game label as an excuse for not giving the game a proper look, or to simply disregard it as interactive entertainment altogether. This is all it is? People ask after pressing the Eat Bread button for the 10th time in a row. Yes. Yes it is. But that's okay. So here's the part where I have to say that, yes, maybe some people are playing the game wrong. I know I did the first time I played it. I was sort of disappointed at the length and the simplicity of the game. We're very much used to games that offer us choice, but in this game we're presented with choices that don't have any effect whatsoever on the outcome of the game, or the story. As the game puts it, we're playing as the subconscious of the main character. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, apparently it means we get to choose when to look at our palm, and when to take a puff of smoke, or instead maybe look out the window for a bit. Not the most engaging choices in the world. But upon playing the game again late one evening, I discovered something about the experience of playing Dinner Date. Pre-written dialogue you can't control is being spoken by you, while pre-written events play out, and all you can do is make choices about what sorts of gestures and small activities your character does as he goes from scene to scene. What else does this sound like? Acting.
I love you till the day I die.
In a real play, the actors don't get to choose their lines, nor their basic blocking, but what they do, and what makes a great actor, is small choices in the way they deliver their lines and in the small micro choices they make in their gestures and their actions. Depending on how you approach Dinner Date, it can either be a game that carries on without you, or you can participate and be making choices based on what your character seems to be feeling. Are you the kind of character who chronically looks at the clock at all times, wanting to eat but can't because of the tension? Or do you stuff your face as you wait, trying to drown out your feelings in the food? Your mind speaks one thing, but if your actions show another, then you can make the character as shallow or as complex in this one-act play of a game as you want. It's very much a performance-based game. You just have to let yourself get absorbed by it and act the part. And sure, it's funny to rub your face the whole game so that you can see your character's polygonal fingers get way too close to the camera, and laugh about how bad it looks. But you could make your choices more meaningful and more enjoyable by putting thought behind them as the virtual play carries on. I don't think I've ever played a game that came this close to portraying the experience of being an actor on stage, and I'm not entirely sure that the game designer was even trying to do this, but whether or not they intended for it, this is absolutely Dinner Date's best asset. Ironically though, I do find that Dinner Date, despite feeling like a performance, is best played alone. Otherwise it can be difficult to get into character, so to speak. And we all want to be cool and savvy around our friends by acting like we're above little things like this. All I know is that Dinner Date managed to entertain me in a very specific way that no game has since managed to accomplish. Have I racked 50+ hours on it like some of my other games? No, but it doesn't need to be endlessly replayable to be enjoyable. Dinner Date, if you let it, will supply you with a very interesting half hour of making subtle acting choices in your very own virtual one-act play, before finally closing the curtains and letting you carry on with your life. And that's how to enjoy Dinner Date.